Coming straight out of Ecamm. This is a jam of the Ecamm fam. Ecamm fam is the name of the jam. This is a jam of the Ecamm fam. Ecamm fam is the name of the jam. This is a jam of the Ecamm fam. It's a jam of the Ecamm fam. This is a jam of the Ecamm fam. Ecamm fam is the name of the jam.
Hold it, stop the music!
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
Can I please have your attention?
Now showtime, are you ready? Are you ready for start time?
Let's find out. Ready, let's go.
April Fools. So I'm not Doc, in case everybody's wondering. I try to be, but I'm not Doc. I'm Paul Duncan. I'm one of the moderators with Ecamm, and you usually see me on the back side of this. But today, Doc has pulled me to the front. And Doc will be here a little bit later. He had a meeting, and so he couldn't start this out, so he asked me if I would kick this off. And he's going to be joining us at some point in the process. And I have a mic problem. Sorry. Somebody said I do have a mic problem. Sorry. Hopefully that's better. The one thing I didn't check. Anyway, so we're going to go through the walk through the demo today. It's going to kind of be an open thing. I'm going to show you a couple things. If you have questions, be sure to pop them into the stream, and I'll answer them to the best of my abilities. Some of them I may flag and hold till Doc comes in later. He said it might be 30 minutes before he comes in, so we'll see what happens. If he comes in, great. If he doesn't, we'll just keep him locked in the closet. But anyway, welcome to the live demo. As you can see up in the corner, we have a countdown to Creator Camp. That is an event that Ecamm puts on. We did it last year for the first time, and we're going to be doing it again this year in October. It's a great opportunity to get together. It's limited to 100 people. The Creator Camp, the Creator Camp is in 192 days, but the actual registration is going to be opening up in a little over 25 days. So keep an eye out. If you want more information about Creator Camp, you can find it at this website. It's can't speak today. It's ecamm.live/camp. I believe that's it. I'm usually on the other end, and I don't have to talk and chew bubblegum at the same time. I can't. Yeah, ecamm.com/camp. Sorry about that. And you can find all the information about Creator Camp, and keep an eye on your email, the postings that we put up on social media and stuff like that, because it will be opening. And as I said, it's limited. So the first 100 people that get in, we'll be seeing you in Boston, and everybody else will be having FOMO, because we're going to have an absolute great time. So with that said, I want to hop into the demo. First thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about doing just creating a scene. I can get into going to be one of those days. There, we're in live demo mode. So I want to go in and I want to create a very blank screen. One of the things that I do is I organize stuff in my scenes folder and stuff like that. So as you can see over here, I have things put in folders with all the different stuff. So these are the ones that I use for the live demo. The other thing Doc suggests doing is having your mechanicals. So creating a scene that basically shows how your stream is laid out. You know, the mechanicals of your stream, you know, the colors that you use, you know, a lower third box that you use. We have all the settings for our cameras, all that stuff set in here, sample text boxes, all this type of stuff. So having, you know, that set up that you can reference. And then he also has one for how his media folder is set up. I use the same thing, laying out the folders, and then also, you know, a screen share. You know, this is how it looks, this is how it's laid out, and you can grab any of the bits and pieces from this and use it. So that is kind of a way of setting things up. So what I want to do is I want to start out and I want to create a new scene. So I have a grid placed in the background here, and I'm going to come down and I'm going to grab a camera from down here in my overlays, and I'm just going to click that and bring that in. It's going to go to full screen. I don't want full screen. So I can come in here. Oops, come on. Why aren't you? My mouse just went off the deep end. I can move this, adjust this, and I'm... Oh, it's going to be one of those days. Welcome to live. It happens to all of us. I'm going to go into my settings, and I'm going to have this set for custom, so I'm able to move the sides back and forth, sliding that around. So I'm going to bring that over into this area, and I'm going to bring my picture down more into where I want it to be. I can do it full length. If I wanted to go clear across, I could do something like that. And I just realized the clone of cleanliness on my camera is not where I want it to be. So I'm going to scroll out here, go to my camera effects window, and adjust my picture. This is where tech checks come in handy. Anyway, let me just kind of check through here and see if there's any questions or something. You know, Valerie is coaching me in the background. Let's see. I think we got everything. Okay. I don't see anything of major importance here. I'm going to put a Q in here and see if we have any questions. So if you have questions for me, be sure and put a Q colon, and I will find it, because right now I'm just searching for questions that way. So anyway, I've got my overlay. I can, if I wanted it to go across the entire way, I can do that. You know, I can move it higher, lower, stretch it around. You know, this is completely flexible. So if I'm going to set up if I was going to do an interview window, since Doc is coming in later, I could grab this. So now I have my camera placed. So now what I want to do is I want to go over here to my overlays panel, and I want to grab a text. So I'm going to click that, and I've now got a text window that opens up. So I can type in here a text box, and I can actually, if I double click on this, say edit text, I can go in here and I can type what I want. Now you can see that it has the border and everything that was set up previously that we've used for this. So I don't have to worry about that too much, but I can type in, oops. So if I put the N in, you never know what it's like to do a demo until you have to do a demo. So you can add stuff in like this. And like I said, we have these all set up. So I could put this in here. I can add this. I can shrink this down. I can stretch it out. You know, I can change I could tweak my name a little bit, and I could make this, I could change this to a bold type. I wanted to make it Courier and say, I can make it bold. I can change the type around. I can do anything. So you can see where my Paul is the Paul is a different font type than the rest of it. If I want to make this really simple, I can X this. I can just go over to my mechanicals. I can go down here where I had my host information. Now that I have this, I can just go in here. I can say copy. I can go back to my scene. I can come over here, Command V to paste it in. Oops. Now I have this. I can drag this in. I can come in here now, double click on this, click on edit text. I can change this to Paul. I can come over here. I can change this to Duncan. I can change this to moderator. Click save, and now it's in here. So I didn't have to do anything because I have my mechanicals and everything set up the way that I want it. This is all saved in here. Now, the other thing that I will do when I start doing stuff, if I wanted to put a border around myself, I could actually do that too. Basically, another trick is if I go back into my mechanical page, you see how this has a border on it? If I click on this, right click, and I come down here and I say paste settings, or copy, I'll say copy, sorry, not paste, copy. I go back over to my scene again. I've got my overlay in here. Now I can just go paste settings, and now it's got my border in place. So I've been able to pull all the information that, again, that I have stored in my mechanicals, all my setups and everything. So now I don't have to sit here and fuss with how thick is the border. You know, I don't have to go into my page here, go down here to border width and start setting border widths to the precise number and the colors and all that stuff. I just can go over to that mechanical page, grab the settings, copy it, come back over and paste in the settings part, and everything is brought into, brought over from that. And I don't have to do a lot of tweaking and tinkering and all that stuff. The other thing that I do when I'm working on stuff like this is now I have me. So if you notice over here in my overlays panel, in showing current scenes, I have my name. This one I don't need. This is the old one. I'm going to get rid of that. And I have my camera. Now, if I add docs in to make a setup for doc, an easy way to do that is to hold down Option. You notice how when I hold down Option, I start dragging. It's now going to duplicate. So I can bring this over. And when Doc comes in, he's going to be guest number 1. So I'm going to change my camera setting over to guest 1. And then everything looks the same. I can do the same thing with this, and I can drag, copy, actually, Option, drag, and now I've moved this over. I have a grid that I've placed in the background here so I can line things up. And then all I have to do basically with this is just go in, edit the text, and change this, to Doc Rock. Oh, wrong title. And what was his title? So since I can come back over here, if I need to figure out something, I've got I can just come in here, grab this, snag all this information, come back to my scene, double click on this, click on edit text, grab that, and copy that in. And now I have a place set for Doc. Now, Doc isn't here at the moment. So, and I could have a guest where, the guest may be calling in and not actually going to be live, or he may lose his cameras or lose connectivity or something may happen. And rather than have this purple box show up, what I can do, and one of the things, Doc, I talked about folder setups. I have a folder that is called Media Library. And in my media library, I have a series of folders. So I'm going to open up the one for live demo. I have an animations folder, a folder that has all my backgrounds in it. I have a folder with images, any sound effects that I may be using, any actual music files that I use in. So like if I was to come in here, you'd see I have the Ecamm Jam song. images. I have pictures, stuff like that. I can grab an image of Doc and I can paste it in here. And I was bad. Let's see, did I grab that? Sorry. I had an image of Doc in here someplace. Welcome to live. Okay, I have it. But I could take, I'm going to grab one of my old ones that I did or previously set up. Where did I put it? There it is. So I set the same, kind of the same type of scene up. But what I have in here is I have a picture of Doc, and that is layered. If we come over here, if you look at this, the picture of Doc is layered behind the camera, so it looks like it's in the background. So when Doc was to appear in here, his picture, he will overlay the picture automatically. His live image will pop on. If something was to happen to him during the stream or something and he went away, rather than having this border with an empty box, it will automatically flip to Doc's, still picture. Same thing if I had something happened or he couldn't dial in and he could only be in, I could bring him his voice in or something like that. I'd have a picture of him. You see this on the news all the time. So, that helps. The other thing that you'll see what I did here, the way I did this structure is instead of having, if I come over to this new scene, you see how I have Doc's lower third, I have my lower third, I have Doc's camera, I have my camera listed in a row. And so if I want to turn things on and off, like if I wanted to turn my camera off, I'd have to turn my camera off, and then I'd have to come up here and I'd have to turn my lower third off. What I do is I create folders. So I have a Doc folder, and I've added the Ecamm logo. I just dropped that in there too. And I have a Paul folder, same thing. So if I wanted to swap guests out really quickly or something, or I just wanted to kind of remove Doc for some reason, everything is linked together. So if I move this, everything associated with that entire box is going to move together. I put it in a folder, I link the folder, everything is locked. The other thing I can do now is all I have to do is click that one eyeball and everything associated with Doc's interview picture and everything goes away. And it's hidden. I don't have to go in and, otherwise I would be clicking, I have to turn this off, I'd have to turn this off, I'd have to turn this off, to get rid of him. I don't have to do that. Everything goes away in one little click. So I do that with everything. I try to keep things organized, put things in folders, even with naming stuff. If I drag a picture in, and I come down here in my other stuff, I try to name stuff so that's recognizable, because a lot of times when you drag an image in, it has the name of the image, and it just, and it's some strange thing. You can kind of see a little picture of it over here, but rather than do that, I just add it, I rename it so it's clear, it's concise, and when I'm starting to work on stuff, I can figure out what I need to do and make adjustments that way. So hopefully that helps. Anybody have any questions? I haven't seen anything pop up. If you want to throw pies or something like that, you can do that too. Hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully you're getting something out of this. It's been beneficial, just kind of working through stuff. But, this is how you bring in an interview guest. You can assign the camera. I could make it anything else. I could even make a duplicate of me if you wanted to. So it's just coming into your video sources and changing what you want it to do. Another thing that you can do is using the camera switcher, which is down here. You can have, if you switch the camera switcher over to A/B, you get a multitude of cameras that you can add. I have several added in here, but you can do a camera A. And so now you can see down here that I have camera A assigned to guest 1. I could do the same thing if I had multiple guests. I could assign camera B to guest 2, on and on and on, and so forth. The great thing about that is if you send this profile, I could save this profile and send it to somebody. When you send it to them, it's not going to know the cameras and things that you've assigned it. So you could create a profile for somebody for a show that they're working on, or even for yourself, and move it to another computer. When you get to that other computer, depending upon the complexity of the show, you might have a whole bunch of scenes. I've known people that have, are doing a presentation. They have hundreds of scenes, and there's cameras in there, different camera angles, different, all this stuff. And in the old days, the only way to fix that is you had to go into each scene and assign a camera, reassign the cameras to each scene to the camera overlay in that scene. By using the new camera switcher and assigning cameras A, B, and C, that type of stuff, all you have to do is basically go in here and just say, okay, camera A is this camera. So camera A is my main camera. Once I set this, every scene in my show that has a camera A will be switched to me. I only have to do one thing. And the same thing for Doc. Any scene that has Doc assigned to it as guest one, I just have to assign that, I just have to go in and assign guest one to camera B, and they're all set. And it saves a lot of manual work and trying to tweak stuff and stuff like that. So those of us that have created shows for people, this makes it a great way. When you send them the show, you basically send them the profile, any video files that are associated with it, any additional fonts that they may need, and then you just say assign camera X to camera A, camera Z to whatever. You just assign the different cameras out to the different cameras in their, have them do that in their camera switcher, and then the slide deck is all set, and the show is ready. The cameras are in place and all that type of stuff. Any questions about anything so far? It's quiet in the audience. I've talked too fast. I figured this would take me longer than this. Any questions? Anything? It's quiet. Okay. The other thing that I want to show you is bringing in a video. So if I wanted to show a YouTube video, there's a couple different ways of doing that. And again, one of the things that I have done in here is I have any URLs. The other thing I do is I bring all of my scenes. So in this particular folder, this is specially designed for the live demo. I have a folder called Scenes. And what I've done in this is, as you can see, I have up here in this corner, I have folders that I have things set up. So I have one called Live Demo. I created a folder in my Scenes folder called Live Demo. And in that folder, I literally grabbed each scene and drug it in here. So if I was to delete everything in this folder, say if I got rid of my checklist, or actually if I got rid of my page, if I got rid of my thing, that scene with my face in it, it's gone. Basically, all I have to do is come back over to it hid. This folder, come into Live Demo, come into Scenes, open the Live Demo one. I can find, here's my full page. Now all I have to do is drag that back up. Oop, double click, sorry. Are you going to make a liar out of me? There. Drag it over here. Then I can just move it back up here where I wanted it to be. And it's back in place. And I've got everything's still there. Everything's the same. I haven't lost anything. So that's another way of keeping yourself organized, And I always recommend, if you're going to make major changes to a show, a profile that you've set up, or even scenes, grabbing those scenes, dragging them out, or backing up that profile. You can basically, if you go up to your main menu up here, up to profiles, and you can say export current profile. You can take this. It's going to ask you what you want to call it. I'm just going to drag it down here on my desktop for the time being. Actually, I'm going to put it in my download folder. It's easy to find. Download that. And now I have a complete backup of the show, everything in here. And this is great if you're going to start making changes, any kind of changes, and you screw it up, which I have done many times, starting to tweak stuff and mess something up royally, rather than having to start from square one and starting all over. Worst case is you've lost the little bit of work that you did, making changes, and you can go back, re-input that profile or grab those scenes back in, and then fix it again. So you have a way of going back. I have done stuff where I've started going in and tweaking stuff, and I screwed things up royally, and I literally had to start all over because I had wiped out some things, messed some stuff up. So making a copy of it before you start making major changes can save you a lot of frustration, tears, and time. So again, if you have any questions, post them in the chat. How do you bring in Zoom guests? Stay tuned. Ecamm is working on a Zoom integration that will allow you to bring guests in. That will be coming out in the future. We're working with Zoom. We've put together a proposal to them. We're waiting for Zoom to give, to approve things so that we can start taking it on to the next step. So if you're not part of the beta group, Ecamm runs a public beta. So when we start releasing new things, we release a public beta that is open for anybody to download and try. You need to realize when we do betas that they are a beta. They're still being tweaked and adjusted. It's not a production version. There can be bugs, there can be issues with it, but you can download the beta, play around with it, try it out. If you get the beta, there are two other things you need to do. You can do one or both of these. You need to either join the Facebook beta Discord, or the beta words are difficult today. The Facebook beta group, or the Discord. In our Discord group, our server, there is a beta channel there that you can talk about. We only talk about beta stuff in the Discord groups. We do not talk about beta in our regular, in the normal Facebook group, because we don't want to confuse people with beta features and stuff that may not be there. And the beta is a separate application. So you can run the beta application, and you can run the real one. You can't run them both at the same time, but they're two separate apps on your computer. So you can switch back and forth between the two. The only thing that you have to watch for is if there's special features or new features or functionality in the beta, when you swap back over to the regular production version, though it's not going to know how those work. So you're not going to be able to access those types of things and stuff like that. But you can actually run both applications on your computer and have them installed, because they're two separate applications. So that group will know when the Zoom integration or any new applications come out, or new updates for Ecamm comes out. We usually run it in beta, have people try it, provide feedback, and then make adjustments, and then release it, as the public standard version. I normally use the beta from the time it's released. Ecamm's betas are extremely stable. I think in the 3 years that I've been involved with Ecamm, I only remember, I think, 2, maybe 3 times where they released a beta and called it back because they discovered a problem and they had it fixed within a matter of a few hours. But they are extremely stable. Most of us use beta all the time, in our productions and stuff like that. But so that's out there. Valerie asked if I could go over what happens when you try to add an overlay when a scene is locked. And that is a very good question. So I'm going to go back to the new scene that I created here with Doc. And so if I go over into my scenes panel, you can see here, there's like a little lock. So if I click this, that's now locked the scene. So I can't make changes. And now if I move this box, the box is going to move around the screen. I can't make changes in here. I can't make adjustments or anything like that. If I decided, now you notice that in the overlays panel, you see things in 3 different areas. You see show in all scenes. Anything here, I can call this up in any scene that I'm in. Anything in show all scenes will show in every single scene. If I turn this on and I move back up to my full screen, he's still there because he's in show on all scenes. There's also a section of show in current scene. These are items that are only related to this specific scene. When I change scenes, that box is going to change to something different. And then the show in background, those are also in every scene. So I have this background, the purple background. If I turn that off, it goes black. I can bring the grid in, so these will also show in every scene. When I create a new scene, if anything I have show in background is going to be added to the new scene. If I have a background, it's going to show up. So if I go to add a text block in here, and I'm just going to call this test, and I add it, when I add this in a locked scene, it can't add it to the current scene. The only thing it can do is it now put it up in show in all scenes. So technically, just like the other one, when I change that, this test is going to be in every scene, and I don't necessarily want it there. So what you have to do to fix that is you want to unlock the scene, and then you want to grab this, and you'll see the box, and then I can just drag this now down into show in all scenes. So now when I change scenes, it's gone. But anytime you're working with overlays or something like that, you will find that if you add it in, if you drag something in, it may end up in show in all scenes. And that's because the scene is locked. If the scene is locked, it can't add anything to it. So the only thing that it can do is add it to show in all scenes. So hopefully that has helped. So again, why is my zooming not zooming today? So you'll see show in all scenes, show in current scene, show in background. And if the scene is locked, it won't put it in here. It's going to add it up here into show in all scenes. So you want to keep an eye on that to make sure that you're getting things where they want to be placed. The other thing with this too is if you want to duplicate a scene, would you go in here, when you right click on it, if, say for example, I'm on my full scene, I want to duplicate this checklist thing. If I click on this and then come down here to my little duplicate option, it's not going to duplicate this one. It's going to duplicate the active scene. So now I have 2 of me, which is more than anybody needs to deal with. So if you want to duplicate a scene, you need to remember that you have to make the scene active. You have to be able to see what it is, and then you can duplicate it, and you will get the correct scene. So now you'll get a copy of that scene. So let me get rid of this again. Any questions? Yes, templates is a lower thing. The other thing I do too is like this is not needed. This is the test thing over here. I try to delete stuff that I don't need. Otherwise, things start getting complicated and confusing. So if I go back to, I'll just go back to this. If I wanted to bring comments in here, I can go, move this out of the way. If I click on this, it's going to bring up the comments the way it was. So, we preset this up. I have this set, I can adjust this. If I wanted to do something different, I can go up to my overlays panel and I can add a placeholder comment overlay. It's, Shift Command K is the keyboard shortcut. I can throw that in. This is now a placeholder. So it's kind of generic. And what I can do with this is I can double click on it. I can change the color, the margins between text and the border. I can add a border. I can change, I could tweak the text. So if I wanted this to actually come up and have the viewer name in a different color, I can pick where I can come in. Why isn't it? Is it hidden? Why isn't it letting me change colors? My crayons are hidden someplace. They're under something. Anyway, you can click this. You can make changes to this. I could change the font. I could, make it bold, unbold, tweak things around. I can do different things with that. I can change the background behind it from purple to something else by clicking background, and then I can change the colors, that type of stuff, change the border width. I can fix the radius. So maybe I only want 2 corners, rounded. I can, turn these things on and off, that type of stuff. So, you can tweak this and edit it. And now that you've done that, when you bring a comment up, you've created this placeholder, and now it will go. So if I wanted to distinguish this from the other one, I could actually make the border. There we go. It's up there. Like this. Drag my little pencils down, and I can make it orange. And you can do this, by scene or multiple scenes. So now when I bring this in, now you see they're purple. Let me know if that's what you were asking for on that one. Any other questions? Anything else you want to see? I was talking about bringing in a video. So what I can do is if I wanted to bring in a YouTube video, I can, come on, where's my folder? You were in here a minute ago. I can go to YouTube. I closed the window. That's what's wrong. Bad me. Anyway, you can go to YouTube. And you can come in and you could drag in, say, why can't, nothing is working the way I want it to today. Welcome to live. This is what happens. So I could drag in a flow. I'm going to change angles here. So if I wanted to bring a video on, I could do it one of 2 ways. I can bring it in as a shared screen, and basically you're looking at my other computer. When I bring the shared screen in, I basically have the option of coming in here and saying what I want to share. So I can come in here, click on the pencil. It says primary display. I can say I want to share Google, and I want to share the YouTube channel. So now I have the YouTube channel. If I click on this video, it shows what I'm seeing in that particular window. And then basically what I do is I just hit Option, and I can crop this down so that it's only showing that particular portion of the window that I want to see, make it bigger. And now I can come over to this other window and I can actually play, and you should be able to hear what is going on. Maybe not. Sometimes I've been having issues with sound occasionally. So you can bring it in as a screen share. The other thing that you can do is you can drag the URL in, And now it becomes a widget. Please don't. Oh, I just love YouTube. Okay. So I basically have it in as a web widget. If I look at the web widget, it's basically got a name. I can give it a name that I want. It's the URL of the video. I can adjust the size, make it bigger. One of the things you want to do is you want to keep it running. What that does is when you go to open something, it is going to try to, it's going to have to rebuffer it, restart, all that type of stuff. By clicking keep running, everything is preloaded. So when you go to it, it's immediately going to start playing. It doesn't have to go out and fetch it and get everything set up. It's all there. But you can change your height, width, that the way that you want it to. Doc always tweaks his for high definition, and then save it. And now you've got the video. There's a little switch at the very bottom down here that you can see. That if this is on, I can interact with this. If I click this so that it's off, I can't do anything. All I can do now is just move it. I can't click on anything or anything of that nature. But if I turn this on, now I have the ability to interact with anything on the screen, play, stop, all that type of stuff. If you were bringing in a presentation or something like that, as a web widget, that's another thing that you can do. You can actually control it and all that stuff. So hopefully that helps. Let's see. Somebody said, let me come back to me. Let's see. What's the best way to create an overlay where you can reposition the camera inside the overlay? Not sure. I'm going to go over to my doc one, and what I can do, I'm not sure if this is what you're talking about, but one of the things that I can do down here in my camera effects window, scroll down here, if I select my camera A, which is me, now you see me in here. If I click zoom and pan, I have the ability of moving this around so I can position myself into the scene as I want to be. I'll bring this up on top of here so I can scroll out, show you a little bit better. So in this camera effects, using this zoom and pan, I can zoom in, I can zoom out, I can reposition this. And the other neat thing in this case is if I was to take, I'm going to change a dock temporarily. I'm going to assign dock to camera. I'm going to create a camera C. I'm going to come down to my camera switcher, and I am going to assign my same camera. It's my cam link into here, but you can now see that it looks differently. I'm zoomed in differently. So I can do the same thing. I can come over to my camera effects on camera C. I can change, where did it go? Okay, camera effects, come back. Always happens when you're demoing. Bring back camera effects here. So I have camera C. I can click on the zoom and pan. I can do the same thing. I can zoom this in. If I want to be really bigger, I could, if I wanted to, I could change this to a different tone, a different color. I could flip it around so I now look like I'm talking to myself. So I can position it and move this around any way that I want. I can blur myself if I wanted to be in witness protection mode. So I can do anything here. I'm only affecting camera C. I'm not affecting camera A. So you can do this as if you were talking or doing a presentation and you wanted to emphasize a point that you got across. Maybe you want to bring it in and make it a very large picture of yourself. So when you transition from one scene to the next, it looks like you have multiple camera angles, but you only, multiple cameras with different angles, but you only have one. Did that answer the question that you were looking for? Hopefully. If it didn't, let me know and we'll try it again. Let's see if there's anything else in here going on. Let me get out of the queue mode. See if anything's happening. Yeah, if there's any questions you have about anything, how to do something, let me know. I'll do the best I can to kind of show you. Looks like Doc has decided to hide today. I had a feeling he may do this. He'd throw me to the wolves and then say, see you later. But yeah, if you have any questions, you want to know how to do something, you want to see how, see me do something, anything like that, just let me know and we'll give it a college try. We'll pretend Doc's here. Any questions? Anything? Yeah, and when you bring what I showed you with being able to pan and zoom and all that stuff, that works when you bring an interview guest in. You can go to their window, the guest view, and you can tweak theirs. So if they're wide and they're off center, if you don't want to ask them to move into center, you can use that pan and zoom thing. You can zoom in and you can adjust the position on the screen of where they are and that type of stuff. So, it comes in handy that way. Usually what I try to do is I try to get them where they need to be, in the big picture of stuff, and then start tweaking, from there. It's the same thing with the sound levels. You have this sound level panel. The first one is your mic. And then you have, if I was to play a movie or something like that, would show here my sound effects. If I was to, and I apologize if this is going to be loud. I'll make this. So you'll notice that my sound effects level popped up here. I take all these and I set these to 80. They default all the way to the right to 100%, and which is fine, except if I need to make any kind of adjustments, if for some reason my interview guest was soft or the music was soft or something, I want to be able to have some flexibility. So by setting everything at 80 and working with that, then if I needed to boost the sound of somebody, I have the ability to increase the sound rather than going back to them and saying, can you turn your volume up or something like that if necessary. So that's helpful there. The other thing, when you have interview guests coming in, sometimes you'll get something, what we call slapback. You kind of hear the sound, again and stuff like that. This is a great way to figure out if it's coming from you or coming from them. Because when you look at this, if you have an interview guest in, their sound is going to show up in this bottom bracket. It's going to move. So if you're quiet and they're talking, the only thing you should see is this. Same thing is like if you're hearing it and you want to figure out if it's coming from them. If you're talking and this starts moving, the interview thing, you're picking up your sound from them. So it's coming back from their side. If it's the opposite, you may see it from your side. So if you see things in these two boxes, then you've got a problem, because when they speak, you shouldn't see anything coming from your mic. And when you speak, you shouldn't see anything coming from the interview thing. If you are, then they're not wearing headphones. That's their mic or your mic is picking up from your speakers and feeding things back into the stream. It's not echo. It's not necessary. It's not feedback. It's what we call slapback. If it was echo, it would be hello, 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 kind of like you do in a Canon. Ecamm doesn't know how to do that. Sound systems don't know how to produce echo. Echo is produced, if you get feedback when you have a mic in front of a speaker, you get stuff like that. It's because you've added something into the mix that it doesn't know what to do. And so you're speaking and then it's coming back into the microphone, and then it kind of gets in this like crazy circular thing. So that's called slapback. Okay, see anything else there? And also, Doc's not in here. I don't have an interview guest. But when you do get an interview guest, they will show up over here in your interview window. It will add up in here. And at the top of the interview window, there's a little slider that will allow you to adjust their volume. So you can make them louder, softer, you can mute them. So you have that you have that ability to make that adjustment too, and those types of things. So, this is kind of a master, the sound levels is kind of a master for everybody kind of sound, but as your interview guests come in, you have the ability to make minor tweaks and stuff like that. Last thing I want to touch base on, which I didn't, is the preferences. And basically, one of the things that I do when I first create a scene or something is I go into, that's not going to play games with me. There. Go into video, and this very first one's default source mode is blank. That way, when you create a new scene, if I go to create a new scene, it's basically going to be blank. I'm going to see the background, but that's the only thing. If I go into my preferences and I change this to what it normally defaults as is camera, and I come back in, and I'll get rid of this one so I don't. If I go to add a new scene and create it, it's going to come in with my camera in place. So, and then if I want to get rid of it, I'm going to have to do Command-Shift-B to blank it out and then start building stuff in the way I want it to. And the other thing with that, a camera coming in that way, I'm going to do this one more time. If I bring this camera in, I can't make any changes to that camera. It's full screen. I can't make adjustments. I can't tweak it. I can't change the camera, any of that stuff. So I highly recommend that you start with a blank canvas, just have a blank screen, and then you can add stuff to it the way that you want to add stuff to it. And you have flexibility to do stuff. Even if I want a full screen of me or something like that, I will go in and I add it as a camera overlay, and then I just make it full screen. So I have that flexibility to change that camera if I needed to, or make adjustments to that camera if I needed to. So hopefully that helps. Anything else? If not, and Doc is not here, we're gonna call it early today. Like I said, last chance to throw any questions in. Ask me anything you want to know. Let me know if you have anything. I saw Valerie pop something in here using the @ sign. If you are, just a FYI, if you are on a mobile device, using @ to do a call out for a person does not work. It doesn't work like it does on a laptop, where you can type the @ sign and start typing a name and have it posted into the it fill out the name and do kind of like a shout out type of thing. That doesn't work on mobile devices for some reason. So just FYI. Okay, anything else? Last chance. Questions about Creator Camp? We also have Leap into Live coming up soon. Leap.ecamm.com. It is a 3-day event. Lots of great speakers. There's 9 speakers each day. It's a full jam-packed. It's free to register. So I would highly suggest taking advantage of that. This is the 5th Leap that we have done this year. It's Leap into Tech and Tools. So we're talking all about the tech and tools that you use for live stream. It is not Ecamm specific. It's anything podcast. The theme is kind of on the podcasting side, but anybody can benefit from this if you're doing any kind of content creation, podcasting, live streams, anything like that, or even thinking about it. It's a great place to come and check out and all that stuff. So hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully, if you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, don't give me a thumbs up. Don't give me a thumbs down. I'm kidding. But anyway, thank you very much for sticking with me and hanging in there and going through this process. And I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see if this works the way it's supposed to. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Coming straight out of Ecamm. This is a town of the Ecamm found. Ecamm fam is the name of the sham. This is a town of the Ecamm found. Ecamm fam is the name of the sham. This is a town of the Ecamm found. This is a town of the Ecamm found. This is a town of the Ecamm found.